Primarily.
So when you say that you told Mr. Stimac that the Java religion coming out of the software group is a big problem, do you really have any doubt that you were talking about IBM's software group?
Well, there was a lot of joint work between IBM people and Sun's people and other companies. And so it's very hard to draw a line between the IBM software groups and other people's software groups.
Does that mean that it is your testimony here under oath that when you referred to the software group in this sentence, you don't know whether you were talking about the IBM software group?
I'm certainly talking about software groups that IBM is at least a part of.
You go on to say that they continue to use their PCs to distribute things against us. Is the they that you're referring to there IBM?
I think so.
And is the us there Microsoft?
I think so.
And you then, in the next sentence, say that you told Mr. Stimac that they are dabbing in NCs in a way we don't like. Is the they there again IBM?
Apparently. I don't know what dabbing is.
I was going to ask you that next. The next paragraph, you say, quote, overall, we will never have the same relationship with IBM that we have with Compaq, Dell, and even HP because of their software ambitions. I could deal with this just fine if they weren't such rabid Java backers. Now, when you refer in that sentence to they, as in, I could deal with this just fine if they weren't such rabid Java backers, you're again talking about IBM, correct?
Parts of IBM. It's important to distinguish different groups in IBM.
And the different groups in IBM would include, perhaps among others, the software group as one and the PC group as another, correct?
That's right.
At the end of that, you say that you are willing to take some risk in improving the relationship, and you think that steps ought to be taken to approach them. And you end by saying, quote, we should position it as let's do some things that are good for both of us, but which require some of the rhetoric to be lowered on both sides. On their side, I mean Java and NC. And their side, you're talking about IBM side?
I think so.
And what you're saying is that you want a message conveyed to IBM that in order to improve the relationship, you want some of their rhetoric lowered on Java and NC.
No.
No? Did you want IBM to lower their rhetoric on Java?
I actually explained in this message that I thought the rhetoric was actually hurting IBM itself, independent of Microsoft.
Did you think it was hurting Microsoft?
I wasn't sure. In terms of specifics, I wasn't sure.
When you say that you could deal with IBM's relationship just fine if IBM wasn't such rabid Java backers, weren't you saying that you thought that IBM's rabid backing of Java was bad for Microsoft?
I know at this time we thought some of the claims around Java were just plain false and weren't doing customers any favors by leading them down a belief that certain things were solved that were not solved.
My question, Mr. Gates, is in October of 1997, did you believe that what you refer to here as IBM's rabid backing of Java was something that was hurting Microsoft?
I can't point to any particular hurting that it was doing. We didn't think it was accurate in terms of what technically could be achieved with Java.
Let me put the question this way. In or about October of 1997, did you want to stop IBM from being what you refer to here as a rabid Java backer?
We thought some of the rabidness was hurting IBM as well as the industry as a whole.
Did you believe it was hurting Microsoft? Or were you just doing this as sort of a public-spirited company to try to help IBM from hurting itself?
I can't point to any particular damage, but we certainly would have preferred if the more extreme statements we didn't think were true, if they weren't pushing those forward.
Mr. Gates, let me put it this way. In October of 1997, were you trying to get IBM to reduce its public support for Java?
I say in here that under some circumstance, the rhetoric should be lowered on both sides, and that I think that's that makes sense in certain circumstances.
I don't think you actually say in certain circumstances, do you, sir? You may have meant that. I'm not saying you didn't mean it. I'm just saying those words don't appear here, do they?
No, it's all about I am willing to take some risk in improving the relationship and think you should approach them on steps for improvement. It's in that vein that I talk about rhetoric being lowered on both sides.
And then you go on to say that on IBM's side, you mean they lower the rhetoric on Java and NC, correct?
The rhetoric.
And by rhetoric, you were talking about public rhetoric, were you not?
Definitely public rhetoric.
And is it fair to say that in October of 1997, you were trying to get IBM to reduce its public rhetoric in support of Java?
I don't mean trying. I talk about a circumstance in which both sides would lower their rhetoric.
That is, you were offering to lower your rhetoric if they'd lowered their rhetoric. Is that fair? Isn't that what you say right here?
In the context, this is about improving the overall relationship, which is not focused on the rhetoric. It says that in the context of that improved relationship, I think that both of us should lower our rhetoric.
Well, indeed, you say that the improved relationship will, quote, require some of the rhetoric to be lowered on both sides.
That's a statement about human feelings that if our rhetoric is so high, it'll be hard for them to do their side of improving the relationship and vice versa.
Well, you then go on to say on their side, on IBM's side, you mean Java and NC. Right, sir?
So that's part of the rhetoric I'm referring to.
Part of their rhetoric.
Yes.
That you wanted them to lower. Isn't that true?
No.
Okay. Let me ask you to look at Exhibit 401. This is a message from you to Mr. Balmer and Mr. Chase with a copy to Mr. Moritz, and some other people were also given copies. Dated August 15, 1997 at 4:07 p.m. on the subject of IBM and Netscape, correct?
Mm-hmm.
and you type in here importance : high.
No,
No?
no, I didn't type that.
Who typed in high?
A computer.
A computer. Why did the computer type in high?
It's an attribute of the email.
And who set the attribute of the email?
Usually the sender sets that attribute.
Who's the sender here, Mr. Gates?
In this case, it appears I'm the sender.
Yes. And so you're the one who set the high designation of importance, right, sir?
It appears I did that. I don't remember doing that specifically.
Right. Now, did you send this message on or about August 15, 1997?
I don't remember doing so.
Now, you say that you had a meeting with Jeff Pappas, is that correct?
I did have a meeting with Jeff Pappas, yes.
The third paragraph from the bottom, you write, quote, he doesn't want anything attributed to me or he will get in trouble. But he says we can just refer to all the rumors on the web about what kind of deal is being done between Netscape and IBM, close quote. Do you see that?
I do.
At this point, that is in or about August of 1997, were you aware, prior to your conversation with Mr. Pappas, that there was a prospect of a deal between Netscape and IBM?
There'd been rumors of that. So yes. In fact, there had been deals. There was rumors of a new deal.
Let me ask you to look next at a document marked as Exhibit 402. The second message on this exhibit is a message from you to Mr. Balmer and Mr. Moritz, dated August 4, 1997 at 5:17 p.m., correct?
It appears to be, yes.
Did you send this, Mr. Gates?
I don't remember sending it, but I have no reason to think that I didn't.
Okay. Let me ask you to look at Exhibit 403.
I think I had an extra copy of that one.
What was this last one?
403.
Okay.
402
What was the last one?
was the
403
one
is
just
the
before this one.
Okay.
This one is 403. This is a message dated February 16, 1998, from Laura Jennings to you and a number of other people, including Mr. Alchin, Mr. Balmer, and Mr. Moritz. You see that?
Yes.
Did you receive this email in or about February of 1998, sir?
I don't remember receiving it, but I have no reason to think that I didn't.
Let me take you down to the next last paragraph on the first page. The first sentence says, quote, "One potential concern, colon, Brad mentioned to me late Friday that there may be new concerns about our plan to make START a requirement for being in the IE referral server, or at least there may be timing issues related to your appearance at Senator Hatch's hearings," close quote. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you recall a discussion of this in or about February of 1998?
Not with Laura, but on the general subject, yes.
Did Microsoft, in fact, make START, quote, a requirement for being in the IE referral server, close quote?
No, I don't think we did.
Why not?
I think the PR group thought it would be controversial, and we didn't see the benefit as being worth having that controversy.
Let me ask you to look at a document that has been marked as Exhibit 404. The first message here is a message to you and Mr. Ballmer with copies to other people, dated March 23, 1994 at 9:13 a.m. on the subject of IBM helps Lotus. Did you receive this message in or about March of 1994, sir?
I don't know.
The message begins by describing how IBM is helping in the selling of notes. Do you see that?
Yes?
And at the end, Mr. Kempen, who's the author of this, says, quote, "I am unsure if we need to see this as an organizational issue or an OEM issue." Do you know what he means by that?
What's he talking about?
Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
Okay. He then says, quote, "I am willing to do whatever it takes to kick them out, but strongly believe we need a WW hit team to attack IBM as a large account, whereby the OEM relationship should be used to apply some pressure." Close quote. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You have to say yes for the record.
I see it.
Do you know what Mr. Kempen means when he writes to you about a WW hit team?
He means a salesperson.
If he means a salesperson, why doesn't he say salesperson, sir?
It clearly means salesperson.
Are salespeople within Microsoft commonly referred to as WW hit teams?
If they're worldwide, and if they're trying to sell to somebody who's a large account, you bet.
And when your salespeople go out to sell large accounts, are they commonly referred to as needing a, quote, WW hit team to attack IBM as a large account whereby the OEM relationship should be used to apply some pressure?
No.
Close quote. Did you say no?
I said no.
Do you remember Mr. Kempen telling you in March of 1994 that he was proposing that the OEM relationship with IBM should be used to apply some pressure to stop IBM from promoting the sale of notes?
No.
Do you recall anyone ever telling you that, sir?
No.
Did you ever respond to Mr. Kempen and tell him that no, you didn't think that Microsoft ought to apply OEM pressure to IBM?
I don't understand your question.
Do you understand that Mr. Kempen is here proposing to you that Microsoft apply OEM pressure to IBM?
It doesn't say OEM pressure.
I didn't say it said it, sir. It says that he's proposing that the OEM relationship should be used to apply some pressure on IBM, correct, sir?
You're asking me to read it?
I'm asking you if that's what you understand him to be saying.
What?
That he's proposing that the OEM relationship should be used by Microsoft to apply some pressure on IBM.
No, I don't think he's proposing anything.
You don't think he's proposing anything. When he says that he strongly believes that there needs to be, quote, a WW hit team to attack IBM as a large account, whereby the OEM relationship should be used to apply some pressure, you don't think that he is suggesting that Microsoft apply pressure on IBM?
I don't think he's making a proposal. It is one of the things he mentions, but it's not a proposal.
Now, Mr. Kempen's message was a response to a message from you to Mr. Kempen and Mr. Ballmer, dated March 20, 1994 at 11:29 p.m., correct?
It appears to be yes.
And you write him in the first paragraph, quote, "This is one topic I really want to try to get to the bottom of. Why does IBM help Lotus so much? Is there anything we can do about this? Should it become an issue in our global relationship with IBM?" Close quote. Did you send this message to Mr. Kempen and Mr. Ballmer in March 1994?
It appears I did. I mean, that's part of the message I sent. It appears.
When Mr. Kempen replied, saying we need a WW hit team to attack IBM as a large account, whereby the OEM relationship should be used to apply some pressure, did you understand him to be responding to your questions?
I don't remember receiving his mail. All right, I have no more questions at this time. 3:15.
Time is 3:16 p.m. We are going off the record. This is the end of the videotape deposition of Bill Gates on September 2nd, 1998. This is the end of tape 3.
Safe trips back, everybody.
Yeah, you too.